It's an absolutely wild day in the world of Magic the Gathering. We have another leak from the upcoming Final Fantasy set that showcases an insane piece of equipment. We have Wizards' new plan for Pioneer, which should help juice the format back into relevancy. And Final Fantasy is creating some interesting market movement too.
Magic. I am a wizard! History. I'm an old wizard! The magic historian. My bones hurt.
Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles, my friends. I hope the day finds you well because we have gathered for a big installment of Mega Magic News. This is a news roundup edition. We're going to be covering a number of different items today. So we're going to talk about things like the Final Fantasy spoiler. We're going to talk about the teasers not being a thing as part of this Final Fantasy season. We're going to talk about Final Fantasy's effect on the market and individual singles that are spiking. Final Fantasy marks the beginning of a new era of expensive magic because of legal clearance. And that means that Rosewater would basically have to send his teaser list off to the Final Fantasy guys. They would have to approve all of it and get it back to him in time for him to put out his teaser announcement. So that's actually straight up not happening this time around. And I can't remember that ever happening ever since he started the teaser concept. And for me, I'm pretty disappointed about that because I love the teasers. But we do have somewhat of a teaser in the form of another Final Fantasy leak. And on that note, the Tifa card that got shown in the last video where we were talking about leaks, that is confirmed for real. Wizards has officially put it out. So the information we're going to be talking about today isn't an actual card that you can look at. It is a bunch of statements about a card that tell you most of it, but not all of it. So it will serve as our teaser. So this is a piece of equipment that will be coming out in the Final Fantasy set, in the main set, not as an extra commander card, nothing like that. So it is a 3-cost piece of equipment that costs 2 to equip, and it says when equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card, then you may cast a spell with mana value less than or equal to that damage for free. And the sword gives +3/+2. So you smack a player with it, however much damage you did, draw a card off of your deck, and then cast any spell that has that like level of damage or lower in terms of mana cost. Did I hit you for 6? Then I can play a spell for free from my hand that costs 6. It's totally nuts. And as an added little teaser, one of the clouds that's coming out in Final Fantasy, specifically the cloud from the main set, when he's equipped with this sword, it actually triggers twice. So you get to go boom, boom, double draw, double cast. So that is absolutely ridiculous. Now, as far as I'm concerned, I would say there's about a 95% chance of this being a legitimate leak. When it comes to the really obvious fake leaks, I toss them off to the side. But this one has the hallmarks of being legit, and it really does make your mind run with possibilities. There's a lot you can do with it. So, the next item that we want to talk about here will be the situation with the Final Fantasy price spike. If you haven't already heard about it, there is an old common from Shadowmoor. I'm going to put it up on the screen for you right now. It's Helm of the Ghast Lord. So this is a hybrid black, blue, and 3 for an enchant creature that says as long as enchanted creature is blue, it gets +1/+1, and whenever this creature deals damage to an opponent, draw a card. And as long as it's black, it gets +1/+1 and has whenever this creature deals damage to an opponent, that player discards a card. So it's got that fun symmetry of I draw, you discard if you've got both colors going on the creature. And this is spiking massively because of the Final Fantasy commander decks, right? Specifically, I should say, the Esper deck. It's not obviously going in all of them, but either way, this went from being a bulk common up into the range of $7 to $10 at the tip top. Now that price is going to come down as people dig through their bulk and flood them out into the market. But this is your warning that if you're an old school player and you played around that time, or you just happen to have some older cards, because you started more recently and bought a random collection from somebody, check your bulk, people, because you got some real treasures kicking around in that bulk waiting for you, right? So, what is the next item on the list? Pioneer is the next thing we're going to talk about. Now, it seemed that Wizards had kind of shoved Pioneer off to the side. It was getting more attention before. Wizards was actually having official events for it, and then they kind of threw it off to the side in their scramble to try and fix Standard, right? Because Standard has been in a nosedive for a considerable amount of time. The situation with Standard got pretty grim when Wizards funneled everybody onto Arena. The pandemic destroyed in-person play. On top of Wizards getting rid of the Pro Tour, getting rid of coverage, they basically cut the legs out from under Standard and then went, wait, Standard's failing, what do we do? I know, we'll make Standard a 3-year format. If you count Foundation, Standard is technically more like a 5 to 9-year format. So Standard is a weird beast, and one does wonder if they decided to include all the Universe Beyond sets in Standard specifically because they thought it would help revitalize it. Standard is a big moneymaker. Keep you running in the hamster wheel, and you basically have to keep rotating your deck out, right? New cards come along, you can't use these cards anymore. Wizards knows that's a moneymaker, and that's why they forced that concept into Modern with the whole Modern Horizons concept where you get the new cards or you're just not going to be a part of what's going on and you're just going to be left in the dust. Now that actually has had a big negative effect on Modern, and Pioneer had started to pick up some decent traction as kind of like a mini Modern-esque style vibe. But Wizards of the Coast saying, we're not going to have big official events for it, kind of, put the scuttle on that. So they've come along now and said that they are finally turning Pioneer on Arena. So up until now, we've had Explorer, which was Pioneer Light, right? And it had a bunch of stuff that Pioneer had, but didn't really do the one-to-one. And it's still actually not going to be one-to-one with Pioneer. It's a little bit weird in that the cards that are available for Pioneer won't all be on Arena, but Pioneer will be an Arena legal format. And the reason they're doing this is they've looked over all the top Pioneer decks, and it turns out there's only a handful of cards that are actually in the meta cards, ones that are genuinely being used, that aren't on Arena. So there's maybe about a dozen cards that they didn't have that they're going to be programming and putting into Arena, and they have a special event going on. They're going to do a showcase event that is going to happen from May 10th to the 13th. Oh, May 10th is when the Final Fantasy spoiler season starts too. So they have a showcase event going from the 10th to the 13th where you can get in on it. You can actually play some of this with an official tournament, first time ever for Pioneer, and they'll be giving away Pioneer-based booster packs as part of the prize structure. This is a you have to pay to enter it event with gold or gems. It's not like a free celebration event, but regardless, they are bringing full-on support for Pioneer in its entirety onto Arena, with the exception of cards that aren't currently relevant in the meta. It does make you wonder, though, will they add alchemy into the format, right? They're not starting to do that right away, but they did force alchemy into Historic, and everybody got upset about Historic and said, look, this was our non-rotating format. We want a non-rotating format. And Wizard says, we'll give you a non-rotating format. We're going to give you Pioneer, but you have to give us many years to do it. And now we're here, and you turn around and go, are they going to put that alchemy stuff in there? We're going to have to wait and see. So I'm curious about that. The next thing I want to talk about is Starcity Games, which is something that doesn't come up often in these news videos. But if you've been playing for Magic for a long time, you'll know that Starcity has been around for a long time, right? Once upon a time, and it's crazy to think about this, Starcity Game was essentially the online price guide that people used to back all of their trading. And before that, we used to use magazines or guesswork. Imagine having Magic prices updated once a month and you had to have a book to actually look at them. I feel like I'm a million years old. But yeah, Starcity Games has been around for a long time. My buddy Double Strike actually used to write articles for them. But there's a couple of different things of note that I wanted to talk about with Star City. The first is the fact that they're now on CardSphere, and CardSphere is an interesting site that allows individuals to basically set up their own buy list. So you can go, I want to buy all these Magic cards, and you can load money into your account and buy cards from other users, or if you don't want to load money into your account, you can basically feed into other people's buy lists, and that's how you can get money in your account. But it's almost like everybody can be their own mini game store with their own buy lists. And it was pretty much just used on a small level by individuals. There are some stores on there, but none on the level of Star City. So it's interesting to see that in this current era of trying to acquire different singles for your business, that this sort of thing is happening. Does that speak to the fact that Magic is getting more expensive, singles are getting harder to acquire because fewer people are opening product? Or is it just that Star City is flourishing and they're reaching out to get even more product? It is a curiosity. The bigger news item for me specifically when it comes to Star City is, I mean, this is a personal interest, is the fact that they're going to be hosting Wonders of the First's Stoneseeker Cup. So you might remember Wonders. I've talked about it in a few different videos already. I actually did an interview with Brian Tinsman, who used to work on Magic the Gathering for years. He's the lead designer of Wonders of the First, and now he's also a friend of mine. It's awesome being able to text back and forth. If you got rules questions for a game, literally text the guy who owns, like, not owns the game, designs the game. He's not the owner. Although I know the owner now too. I met the whole team. I have a blog of my journey going there. I have an interview with the guy who made the game. So I'm super into Wonders, and it's very interesting to see that they're going to be a part of the Star City Cons, these ongoing events. They're touring with them starting in August is the first event, and that will be in Orlando. And then going on, they're going to have multiple other events. And I'm stoked to see it because when it comes down to new games, you need to get people playing. And having genuine competitive events that you can be a part of amps up the level. Down at my game store, I mean, I don't own it, but the game store that I go to, we've been playing this game, and actually on Friday, we're having a big trade night. The announcement of them being a part of the Star City tour has hyped me up more to get my play sets completed so that I am good to go when it comes to whatever is next, because who knows where else it's going to kind of flourish. You don't see a lot of games getting to take off in this way, and I'm actually going to crack some of it tonight over on my live stream channel because I've got the itch. The box is sitting there. I want to crank out more into my collection. But either way, that is a huge move, right? Star City is normally dealing with big names like Magic, Lorcana, a bunch of other ones from bigger, more established brands. So Wonders of the First has actually done themselves quite a good move in getting included in this. And like I said, I genuinely really like this game. It's currently my second favorite card game. It's impossible for anything to take the place of Magic the Gathering because, I mean, I've been playing this game for over 30 years and have a deep love for it. But it is dope to see that this is going down, and I'm curious to see what the future holds because they're going to have a big event for Wonders later on this year, another Shattering, and I'm absolutely going to be there because I'm having a ton of fun with it. The game is simple to pick up, but has a surprising amount of strategy, and I've enjoyed having a number of people playing it with me in my local area, considering most games that I get into, it's almost impossible to find anybody to play with, right? So ultimately, I had a huge, big old news smorgasbord to cover here, and I'm glad we made it through in time because my camera's battery is flashing at me going bam, 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 bam. So if you wonder, seems like Hatcher's talking a little bit faster than usual. I gotta beat the clock. So let's get out of here. Thanks for coming by and hearing what I have to say. Big shout out to my patrons, you guys rule, and I will be over on my live stream channel tonight cracking some Wonders. If you want to come by and hang out, it's gonna be a good time. Goodbye for now.